Hi, everyone.
Hey there.
It's Alicia Davis
And Stacy Watson.
from TLS.
That's right.
AKA Transformative Leadership Strategies.
That's it.
All right. So what are we talking about today, Stace?
Well, last week we started talking about the third component of the leadership series that we've been leading in a local organization, and that topic is authentic leadership.
Yes.
And we talked about the first element of authentic leadership really being around knowing yourself and what your core values are.
Always.
What's important to you? Do you hold that important?
That's
How
right.
does that show up for you?
That's exactly right. Yes. And so today we're going to expand on that, right?
That's right.
So we're going into the authentic leadership part 2.
That's right.
And because we're geeky, we like to have models.
That's right. I think maybe it's a coach thing. I'm not sure.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. So we wanted to actually share with you something that we created actually for this topic for our group. And we're calling it the Leadership Excellence in Action model. And we're going to be super techno this morning or here today. And we're sharing it on the screen.
That's right. And this, for those of you who are part of our newsletter distribution, you'll be able to download this from the newsletter.
Yes.
And if you're not on that list and you'd like to be, let us know. Or if you'd just like us to send you this, let us know. We're glad to share it.
That's right. We've got a whole summary that describes this. We just wanted to show you the picture here. So we start with this whole idea, which Stacy just said, right? You always have to start with yourself, knowing your values, what do you stand for, and what does that mean, right?
That's right.
And then as a leader and being authentic, then there's a few different steps here to
That's
it.
right.
And they're not necessarily, you don't go in any particular order, but it just kind of goes around.
That's right.
repeatedly.
It's very cyclical, and you may start in one place and sort of shift back and forth. But essentially, you really need to, as a leader, be prepared to help to establish direction. And, you know, it's funny to say that. It seems like it would be very intuitive, but it's very interesting when you get to the aligning people piece. If you have not effectively established direction, people are not aligned,
Nope.
right? And so that's sort of an interesting combination.
That's right. And, you know, when you're establishing direction, you know, part of that vision is tying back into what is important to you and how does that tie into the organization. And aligning people is also helping them tap into what's important to them.
That's right.
And how does all of that line up? And that's all about being authentic.
That's exactly right. And then motivating and inspiring, I think, is something that gets a lot of airtime, but I'm not sure organizations always quite know how to do this most effectively.
Mm-hmm.
But there's very little that's more helpful in moving the needle than being able to motivate and inspire.
Yeah. And it's really about, again, when you can tap into what's really important to people, and when you notice in the middle here, we've got communication, because communication is always a huge part of this, but when you can really listen to what people are saying is important to them, or what they need, or what they value, or what they want to contribute, that's how you really get people motivated and inspired.
That's right. And really, championing change, we sort of put toward the end of this, not because it comes last, but it's really in developing the connection and developing the leadership and the followership, if you will, within your organization that allows you to champion change in ways that can be super effective.
That's right. And so this whole model is, the core of it also is around communication, right?
That's
so
right.
You have to be able to not only have all of this inside awareness and idea and thought and vision and values, but you have to be able to communicate that. And that's also part of the inspiration, is how do you share it? What's the languaging? What's the positivity? What's the excitement in your voice or your tone, or however you're doing it? So all of this is really contributing to authentic leadership. And you know, we've got a summary page on this. We got a whole little description. So if you want that, let us know. Happy to send it to you. And
yeah, and then the one thing I would add to this is that we've developed an assessment that sort of looks at each of these components in more detail that leaders can do on their own.
And it's a pretty cool assessment.
It's a cool assessment. So if you're interested,
Geekness right here.
If you're interested in doing the assessment on your own, or bringing us in to do this with your team, we'd be glad to share more about it with you, and we can see where it goes from there.
That's right. So have a great day, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.